Hey horror fans, once again it is me, the Horror Miser Money G. Yes, it's time to review 2021's version, or Jordan Peele's and Nia DaCosta's version of the 1992 horror Candyman. It's Candyman 2021, yes. Now, Candyman 2021 is a 2021 American supernatural slasher film. It was directed by Nia DaCosta. It was written by Jordan Peele, Win Rosenfeld, and Nia DaCosta. The film stars Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Teyonah Parris, Nathan Stewart Jarrett, and Coleman Domingo. Now, in the spiritual sequel to the 1992 horror film Candyman that returns to the now gentrified Chicago neighborhood where the legend began. You know, when it comes to horror films, particularly slasher films, we really haven't had a horror icon such as Jason, Freddy, or Michael that was an African-American person. We really don't have that villain in a slasher film that's black. Yes, we've had Blackula and Annie and several other horror films where the villain was African-American, but it wasn't until the horror film Candyman that would give horror fans the first horror icon that would be an African-American. Brilliantly played by veteran actor Tony Todd, Candyman will become one of the top slashers in the horror genre, right up there with the big three with Freddy, Michael, and Jason. So when filmmaker Jordan Peele announced that he was making a reboot of the 1992 film, horror fans were excited, me included. That's because Jordan Peele gave us two excellent horror films. Get Out and Us seemed to be an excellent choice to make another Candyman film. So with Peele, who wrote the screenplay along with film director Nia DaCosta, brings us this supernatural sequel simply called Candyman. Now, set in modern times, we're introduced to visual artist Anthony Mackaye and his girlfriend, art gallery director Brianna Cartwright. One night after being inspired by a twisted urban legend story about Helen Lyle, he heads to the Cabrini Green Projects where he meets William Burke, who tells him the story of Candyman. Now, it isn't long before Anthony starts to see strange things happening around him, especially after he gets stung by a bee. Now, I'm not spoiling anything because we see in the trailer. Basically, can Anthony learn the truth about his connections to the Candyman mythos before everyone around him dies? That's basically what the film is about. Now, I like the fact that Peele and DaCosta decided to set this film in modern times and also making this a direct sequel to the original film. If you're going to do something with a film such as Candyman is and was, you want to at least throw something a little bit different. That's one thing I like what they did with this film. They set it in modern times. They decided to make this a direct sequel to the original film other than just a remake. So that's why they call it a spiritual sequel. Obviously, they're ignoring the events in Farewell to the Flesh and Day of the Dead. I consider them inferior sequels. They were okay horror films, but it really didn't add anything to how great the 1992 film was. Basically, it gives them an opportunity to expand on the mythos of Candyman, and he did an excellent job of how the legend of Candyman kept going. See, that's one of the problems I have with Farewell to the Flesh and Day of the Dead, because it took them out of the Chicago neighborhood and Cabrini Green, because I think if they would have kept it there, they would have probably kept the story going. But I guess because of who wrote the two films, they decided to try to make change different. But I like the fact that Peele and DaCosta kept it in Chicago. One of the visuals I loved in the film was the paper puppets they used when telling stories about Helen and Candyman. We saw that in the trailers. I thought it was very well done with the black paper against the white background. Very interesting way of telling backstories. Now, I'm sure some people will see some type of message behind it, but I just love to see it because we really haven't seen it in a horror film. We've seen it in other films and short stories. I think there was animation films where you have it's black everything against the white backdrop, but here they did in the paper cutouts, and I thought it was a great way of telling the stories, like say when they did it with Helen's background story and Candyman background story. And again, I'm not spoiling anything because we see it in the trailers. I think that's one of the reasons why people were interested in the film is because of those paper puppets. I also like some of the shots DaCosta uses in the film. Like there are some scenes where she's shooting the buildings upside down. I thought that was a very visual displaying of the film, and also playing with the mirrors in certain scenes in the film. It gave sort of a unique look that we haven't had scenes in horror films, perhaps other than the horror movie Mirrors, starring Kiefer Sutherland. Now, while I wasn't expecting Yahya Abdul-Mateen II to copy what Tony Todd did in the original film, but he did a pretty good job with his role. He plays Anthony as a nice and honest guy who's trying to revive his career, but as the film progresses, he becomes obsessive, scared, and frightening on what's happening to him. I won't say what's happening to him, but I'm pretty sure whoever saw the film, you know what I'm talking about. Now, Tehona Paris, you remember her from WandaVision? She's okay as his girlfriend, Brianna. She seems to be the backbone from Anthony, but there was something about her character that was missing because I was expecting something more from her, but it never came out. Not saying that she wasn't a good character because she's good. Her and Anthony had good chemistry together, but I was expecting something a little bit more from her. And now that goes into one of the problems that I have with this film, because this film isn't scary at all. Not that the original Candyman wasn't scary, but it did have its moments in the film. And that's kind of what I wanted to see here, especially if you have Jordan Peele and Nia DaCosta in this film. Yes, we have some violent moments and the kills are very bloody with some decent gore, but I was expecting something more in this film. No, as I stated before, that is what my main problem with this film is again, I was expecting something a little bit more from Peele and DaCosta. There's something holding this film back, and I don't know what it is. Because, don't get me wrong, I love the social commentary that they put in this film regarding the gentrification of Cabrini Green and how the police treated African Americans back then as they are now. They don't beat your head in the face, they don't beat the audience head with their commentary in the film, but it's in there. But I kind of expected a little bit more. It's a good horror film, but it's not great. I wanted to see a great horror film, and what I got was a decent horror film, but nothing great, so I was a bit disappointed in this film. Like I said, overall, this is still a decent horror film. I thought the leads were pretty good in this film. I like how they expanded on the Candyman mythos, and I'm pretty sure most people will not try to say his name 5 times. I think this film makes people, you don't want to do that anymore. So, I'm going to give Candyman 2021 3 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Giving it 3 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Like I said, it's not a bad horror film. It's a decent horror film, but I expected a little bit more. I was waiting for that moment to say, wow, that was great. And I didn't get that. So I was a little bit disappointed, but hey, still a decent horror film, so I recommend you go see it anyway. So there you have it. That is my review and video for Candyman 2021. If you did enjoy it and like it, please give it a thumbs up, like, and share because it does help out with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you have seen Candyman 2021, please leave a comment in the comment section and tell me what you thought about the film. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscriber button and ring that notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime when I put a new video such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember that horror rules. I'll see you in my next video. I'm out.